Hello and welcome to my leadership podcast. I've chosen to record this outside because I think that it is such a valuable resource. It can deepen children's understanding across the curriculum. It can offer opportunities for creative and practical learning, and I think it encapsulates the essence of risk taking that I want children to adapt in their own learning. But in the classroom and in my learning opportunities in general, I want to develop children's academic understanding. I want to support the development of their skills, and I want to support the development of the individual child, of the whole child. And Berker talks about this holistic development being both the personal and professional aspects of an individual, and I want to create a learning environment that supports the development of both these areas. So I see myself as a leader in the following ways: by facilitating creative and practical learning opportunities that will support their academic knowledge and deepen their understanding, which I think links to Berker's professional part of the individual. But Landsberg discusses the idea of leadership is having a vision and implementing that, and I want to implement my vision in the classroom through my following values. The first value that I want to embed in my classroom is people voice, and I think that by valuing people voice that I need to adapt my vision every year to bring in their opinions, their personalities, to bring in their values, to bring in their vision of what learning in the classroom looks like. And this can be done through a class charter and through discussion and through embedding this throughout the curriculum. I think that if the children are involved in creating this vision, then they will be more involved in implementing it and embedding it and making it intrinsic, and they will use their intuition, their initiative, to work towards it and to develop it. I also want to embed this across the curriculum by offering opportunities for pupil discussion and opportunities for pupil voice, which task is undertaken, how it is undertaken, the order learning happens, offering them autonomy and choice. I also want to value learning both in the children and in myself, as this will enable me to model the dispositions that for learning as advised by research, and to show that it is valued within the classroom. I value creativity, and I want to offer the children opportunities to be creative in their learning, both collaboratively and independently. And some research highlights that children will be more resilient to change if they are more creative, because they're developing their flexibility, their adaptability, and they're working in that sphere of creativity where things are always changing, and they will be able to adapt these to other areas of their life. I want to value diversity through the resources and books in my classroom, but also embedded throughout the curriculum by providing alternative perspectives when approaching areas of the curriculum like history and geography and music, to look at it from other aspects, from other points of view. And I want to create a culture that values mistakes, because I want to value them as opportunities to develop their understanding and their knowledge, as learning is a process, and that mistakes can help identify areas for progression, areas for development, and that they're really useful. And I think this links to my continual learning and how I handle mistakes for the children, both in the logistic administration of running the classroom and in my own professional learning. I also want to value reflection, both on emotions and on learning setbacks and learning triumphs. I think that this can be done both independently through quiet thinking or reflective journal, but also through class discussion, because class discussion will allow their peers to support their evaluation, to provide alternative perspectives, to help them find the strengths that maybe they don't see, to provide that alternative viewpoint. And I think that this self-evaluation links towards the metacognition of children understanding how best that they learn and developing this independently, and this peer support will go some way to create a community. I also want to be a leader by having high expectations for all of the children in my class in order to inspire and motivate them to work together for their academic and their personal development. And I think that this goes some way to having a positive personal relationship with all of the children in my class to create a secure basis for learning and risk-taking. I believe in developing the whole child by ensuring that all of their needs are met, as suggested by Maslow. So this links to their physiological needs, like food. I would really love to work in a school that has a breakfast club, but it also links to their need for consistency. And I think that this will be provided through my relationship with them, providing consistent boundaries for them to develop their learning. to provide a secure base. I think it is also about creating a sense of belonging, and that's why collaboration is embedded in so many of my values, to provide that sense of community, that sense of belonging, to allow them to build their relationships, but also that relationship with me and every single child in my class is really important. I think this will help to raise their self-esteem and to create this sense of belonging. And reflection will help them do that, help them identify their strengths, their progress in their learning, and their place within the classroom. I will also develop the whole child by providing opportunities, because Brooker has this amazing quote that identity is deeply embedded in one's personal biography, and I think that that's true for me, and I think that's true for the children in my classroom. And so I want to provide opportunities for them to try new things and to develop their skills, and to provide opportunities both in lesson time, through providing opportunities for decorating and baking and being creative, but also through the school trips for allowing them to deepen their knowledge, to try new things, to go to new places. And I want to embed spiritual, moral, social and cultural education across the curriculum. I think this is done through careful consideration of the learning material, through considering alternative perspectives through our discussions, and by allowing the children to explore their own identities and their own opinions in this. And I think that this supports the children's holistic development as we're developing their personal identities and their personal opinions. I will develop the whole child by offering a secure basis for learning and risk-taking. There is some research that suggests that the learning environment can encourage children to take risks, cope with change, and to be truly creative. And they suggest that the environment needs to offer security, and it needs to welcome creativity and diversity. They need a leader or a teacher who values flexibility and autonomy, which I do. I want the children to use their initiative to work towards our shared vision of learning. And they need peers who are supportive and encouraging, which will also hopefully develop through this repeated collaboration and this sense of belonging. I will make an impact by supporting children's academic progression, particularly through active and creative learning. And I think this is adopting the opinion of Lucas, Claxton and Spencer, who quote that knowledge is a constructive process rather than a finding. And I think that it's so important to view children as partners in this process, and to offer them the autonomy and the choice, and to listen to their voice as they undertake this process with me. I will have an impact by teaching children skills that they can use to develop their learning in the future, to develop their learning within school and outside, and to take an active part in society. I will have an impact by having positive relationships with all of the children in my class in order to support their personal development. Because research shows that teachers can provide security, acceptance, and can build children's self-esteem, and this is just invaluable. And it's so important as a basis for their learning. And finally, I will have an impact by trying to model the growth mindset discussed by some theorists, to encourage children to be determined and persistent in their learning, to view mistakes as opportunities for growth, and to welcome challenge. And I will model these and encourage the children to critically discuss and reflect how they are meeting these and their attitudes towards learning, and again that metacognition of how best they learn. So in conclusion, I believe in creating a shared vision, and leading the children in this way will help realise the children's awesome capacity for self-development, intellectual growth and self-directed learning, which is a fantastic quote by Whittaker. Ultimately, I hope that this will prepare children to participate in society and to rise to the challenges of life. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast.